Welcome back to She's Probably Talking to Other Guys. I'm your host, Annie, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you've ever been called high maintenance and someone meant it in a negative way, we are totally going to pick apart those assumptions and really show everyone why being called high maintenance is actually a compliment. And yes, you bet I have been called high maintenance. So this is highly relatable.
Just a friendly reminder, I'm not a therapist, psychologist, or expert in human behavior. This is a judgment-free assumption checking zone. Take what resonates and leave the rest.
The first assumption that we're going through is that if you are considered high maintenance, you're considered selfish. Wanting to look and feel your best, it doesn't mean you're selfish. It means you're more intentional. I've been called high maintenance before, and I used to see it as like an insult because when people would call you high maintenance, it was in my mind, it was kind of aiming at the idea that you're difficult. And I would find that as like very insulting because it's not difficult. It's just living very intentionally. So I know what I want. I know when I want it. And if I want it that bad, I'm going to figure out how to get what I want. Right. I'm not really much of a settler at all. There are times where I have settled for like various things in life, including like we can go to like a relationship kind of idea as well. And I realized sometimes, depending on what the situation was, that I settled like too quickly and I realized it soon. So I was able to make adjustments. And other times it took me a while to realize that I was settling and just I totally needed to change things up because settling is not my vibe. Because again, I'm trying to be intentional. So when I think about being intentional about what I want in my life, I'm going to use this example. I don't eat fast food, right? One, I don't feel good if I eat it. I try not to have greasy food. I have tummy troubles. So I know the foods that are going to mess with me. And if I'm out with someone and they want to get fast food, I will always like encourage them, no, like if you want it, you can get it, but I'm not going to get anything. And that's totally okay. I would rather not eat something than settle and eat something because that's what everybody else wanted. So again, in a sense, yeah, I've been called high maintenance before because they assume that like I don't want it because I don't think it's good enough for me. But that's not really it. It's just more I don't want to deal with the aftermath of having a stomach ache or my skin's going to break out because the food was really greasy and I know that my skin breaks out when I eat greasy food. For me, it's not being selfish. It's not being rude in any way. It's just I know that's not going to work for me. So you do you, I'm going to do me, and we're cool. Wanting to look and feel your best doesn't mean that you're selfish. People who watch and engage in a lot of social media activity, there's a lot going on where people are sharing their morning routines or routines throughout the day, fitness routines, wellness routines, this and that. And there's just like so much content being pushed out and absorbed that at the end of the day, you need to choose obviously what's right for you. Like I know my routines don't work for everyone. But this is where I'm kind of tuning into it being selfish. I take a lot of time in my routines and curating my routines. And I also take a lot of time to make sure that my routines are not disturbed. So if somebody wants to schedule something with me, I try my absolute hardest to schedule it around my routines that I have. Not because I'm being selfish, because I want to show up as my best self for someone. So in order for me to do that, I do not want to have chaos because chaos means that I'm going to show up unprepared. I'm going to show up not being my best self in the moment. And I don't want that because then for me, that's disappointing the other person. So if I cave and give up my time that I usually use for my routines, then I know that a little bit of me is going to be off if I have a meeting at that time instead. And I don't think that people get that all the time. And it's not necessarily something that I feel like needs to be shared about like why you're being very specific and limited with your time, because I don't feel that I need to explain to everyone. Like if it's my best friend, I'll tell her, but I don't feel that I need to explain to everyone that no, I cannot meet you at this time because I am in my sauna blanket. And if I don't sweat my soul out in my sauna blanket and then take my cold shower and then put my red light face mask on and then put my red light neck and hands on in my routine, right? That makes me feel good. That makes me feel confident. That helps me set the mood. If I don't do those things, I'm not going to show up as my best self for you. And for me to go through that entire explanation is just so unnecessary. So again, not being selfish, being selective, and I'm being intentional in order for me to show up as my best self for you. Let's tie a little bit of that into the assumption of you expect people to cater to you. So again, I'm not expecting someone to necessarily like arrange their entire life to be able to meet my timeline. I'm willing to meet halfway somewhere. But again, if it's a conversation of when can we arrange a meeting, I think that that goes both ways because that person probably has things that they don't want to miss either. So it's just more about being really clear and being really intentional in saying, okay, well, I can't meet you at this time, but I can meet you at these times. Do any of these work for you? It's not necessarily that I'm trying to make your life difficult or I'm not trying to make you solely work around my schedule. I've absolutely interacted with people who are like that, and I never liked how it made me feel. I think that that's important, is to not so quickly give up on things that you care about. See if there is wiggle room when you meet with someone. But again, that's what comes off sometimes as being quote unquote high maintenance, because no, I'm not going to drop everything for you. When I was really, I'm a recovering people pleaser. When I was like hardcore people pleasing all the time, I would literally drop everything for people who would never consider dropping anything for me when I needed it. And I think that that was like a huge problem. And that's why I love finding happy mediums for people. Let's talk for one quick second before we move on to the next assumption. Sometimes people confuse self-respect with self-centeredness. So the assumption would be you make everything about you. When it comes to self-respect, I feel like individually you really need to maybe not sit down, but you need to decide, okay, what are things I'm going to allow in my life and what are things that are going to be an absolutely like hard pass. And yeah, again, I feel like the phrase today is like wiggle room. You can have some wiggle room in there. I'm going to talk from my experience. I know things that I'm going to allow into my life. I know people that I'm going to allow into my life. I also know things and people that are not going to take one step into my life ever again. So I have very clear boundaries with certain things and certain people. And in order to have self-respect for yourself, you have to know what those lines are. And if you don't know yet, that's okay. It's a learning experience. I'm just talking from experience. And like the experience that I learned from it took me a while, but when it hit me, like it hit me hard. So that's why having to sit down and actually like consider, okay, well, in the past, this made me feel good. So this can come into my life again. Or that person makes me feel good. They can come into my life. Or that made me feel like absolute dumpster fire trash that is not coming into my life ever again. And the same goes for people. If people make me feel like absolute trash, no, you are not coming into my life again. I don't care if it hurts your feelings because you hurt mine. So again, those are like, it sounds harsh, I'm aware, but it really is something that you need to know about yourself and what you're going to allow in your life and what you're not going to allow into your life. And that's how you can focus on self-respect and having more respect for yourself. And if people take it as you're being self-centered, that's on them and that's on how they perceive it. I'm totally going to butcher this quote. I don't know if it's an official quote, but it was this meme or this post that I saw that was shared, and it was something about like people understand from their level of perception. So if you're going to have boundaries based on self-respect and somebody says that you're being self-centered, that's not on you. That's on them. There's a very clear difference between self-respect and being self-centered. Choosing what you're going to allow in your life and out of your life is self-respect. Me, constantly, that's like self-centered. Let's do like some formal definitions for a moment. These definitions, and then I promise we're moving on. Self-respect, and this is from Oxford Languages, a proper sense of one's own dignity and worth, having confidence in yourself and acting with integrity. So that's self-respect. Self-centered, from Merriam-Webster, is excessively focused on oneself and one's own need or desires, often with little regard for others. Yes, I'm being high maintenance and I'm following my boundaries because it makes me better for you. And that's the approach of high maintenance that we are aiming for. Let's go into assumption number 2 of high maintenance people are superficial. So I personally, again, because I've been called high maintenance, I don't see a relationship between being high maintenance and being superficial. That's just me personally. There are a lot of people who will dress a certain way or act a certain way. And yeah, they are being superficial, but I don't necessarily think that those people would also necessarily always be considered high maintenance as well. Let's take the idea of selfies. This is going to be the main focus of this assumption, is that when you post a lot of selfies, you're being superficial. No, maybe I just really liked how my makeup came out that day and I wanted to put it on my feed. I think that there's a lot of times when people assume on social media that you only care about looks or you only care about this or that because you're posting a lot of selfies. This is kind of turning back to the red flag episode. When you go on a guy's Instagram account and it's mostly gym pictures and they're like mostly shirtless photos and things like that, I feel like the assumption goes towards like, oh, he's self-centered, or oh, I feel like people tend to like relate that to like being, I don't know, do I need to bleep out douchebag? Can I say douchebag? To being douchey. I don't, again, I don't know. Maybe it's like the professional dancer in me. I don't necessarily always think that posting things like that mean that you're doing it from a bad, like, place. This one's a hard one for me because I can, like, if my trainer posted like shirtless photos of himself and things like that would make sense to me because I feel like you're a trainer, like this is what you do. And if this is like something that you notice is what someone constantly posts, then I feel like that's just what they post. Like on my account, there are so many like bikini photos of me wearing bikinis or videos of me in bikinis. This is because I own a brand that sells bikinis. Like, of course I'm going to be wearing them because I design them and they're at my store. I feel like I'm not really that, maybe I should be, I don't know. I'm not that quick to judge if I see a guy's Instagram profile and he's shirtless and like a really hot beefcake. I don't know. I'm just not really that judgy because in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's a reason that this person does this. Maybe they're an affiliate for a protein powder brand. right? There are literally so many possibilities for why this person could be posting things like that. And I'm sure, yeah, there are plenty of people who are doing it superficially, and there are plenty of people who are doing it just because they want likes and they want attention and they want validation. But again, I don't think that that has any relation to being high maintenance. I think that you can post like a really hot picture of yourself in a really hot selfie and still be a really good person. I don't find the relation between like being superficial and posting a selfie. My mind goes directly to the point of this person cares about how they show up. This person cares about how they present themselves, how they walk into a room, the energy that they give, the effort that they're giving. It doesn't really, in my mind, I see no relation to it being superficial. So I think I just crush that assumption. Moving on. Number 3. High maintenance means you're hard to date. All right. So I talked a little bit in the first assumption about picky. We're going to bring this up again. So if someone, you can say that someone's like too picky when it comes to dating. And again, I don't know if I love the word picky for this, but I just think that, again, it comes to someone's boundaries. My best friend has always wanted to set up like an online dating profile for me. This was something that she has like always talked about for years because she swears by dating apps. It took her a while, but we think that she found the one. My personal preference is to meet someone through like a mutual connection. I am very open and talkative on here and with my best friends, but when it comes to new people and meeting new people, I am so shy and I get so nervous. If you expect too much from someone, you're high maintenance. And again, I think it comes from clarity, being clear from the beginning of what you're looking for. But it's also, I feel like, a topic of effort, right? If I'm constantly the one coming up to you first, no, like that's not going to work. Like you need to make an effort to come up to me as well. I feel like in the beginning, like let's just talk from like me personally. In the beginning, I don't generally make the first move. One, I'm very nervous. Two, I have literally zero idea what your situation is. And three, I get scared of what people's reaction is going to be. Because I think I've said this before in a different episode. I know that I can come across as like very bold once I like start talking to someone. Uh and like very talkative when I'm excited about things. And I don't know. I think that it scares people sometimes. And I feel like that's where people tend to think that the assumption that I'm high maintenance and like I'm standoffish, but I'm not. I'm just really shy and I would rather accept my like shyness in the moment than put myself out there talking to someone new, if that makes sense. So there's literally so much going on in my head, and sometimes like I want to say hi to somebody so bad, and then when the time comes, I just walk past because I'm too shy. So again, I feel like I'm a really great example of assumptions. I feel like I'm just like one big assumption when people meet me. It's by accident, I swear. I don't think being high maintenance means you're hard to date. I think that having standards and having boundaries and knowing what you want is attractive. So when it comes to people saying that high maintenance people are hard to date, I just really think that people know what they want. And when people say things like that, it's just the vibe's not there. It's not going to match. I know what I want. I know how like I want to be treated. And yeah, there's always things to learn along the way, but from the get-go, if you're gonna say that like I'm too hard to date, like, babe, this is not gonna work. Assumption number 4 is high maintenance people are all about money. Yes, I have met a lot of people who only wear designers. They will only put clothing on their body if it has a designer label on it. They'll only wear it if it costs over $500. And is, again, a positive and a negative aspect. The people that I've met from a negative aspect, they're the ones who talk like that and act like that and say things like that. But they're also the people who talk badly about you behind your back. That's like the not cool version of high maintenance that we're going for. Like, that's totally the negative aspect of being high maintenance. If you're going to do all of that and you're going to be a mean person, like, that's not cool. Please stay away from me. But there are people that I know who will love to shop designer. They love to wear these things. They feel really good about themselves when they're wearing them. And they're still like a very genuine human being, right? So those are more, that's kind of the assumption we're going after, is when you assume that this person is high maintenance and they only care about money. Maybe they're driving a fancy car and then they step out and they have their Christian Louboutins on, Louis Vuitton bag, right? Like, those are the ones people make assumptions about, but maybe this person is like super duper nice and it's just something that simply makes them feel good, right? 100%. You could meet someone where one of the people in the couple dresses like that, and maybe the other person buys their clothes at Walmart, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, when it comes to high maintenance, I don't think that it has anything to do with money. Like, I can have, should I accept this challenge? Am I challenging myself? I can literally create a really feel-good wellness and beauty routine from a drugstore, or I could really create a really good feel-good wellness routine from a high-end designer luxury beauty store and still feel good about myself. Yes, I have my personal favorites. I have my favorite brands. I like this one. I like that one. But if you really challenge me to pick one, like, I can create a routine that makes me feel good based off of like a drugstore brand if I have to. I don't think that having money or doing things related to expensive activities makes you high maintenance. So let's just do like a few quick assumptions that people say about being high maintenance and related to money. So you must spend a ton to look like that. No. Only rich people are high maintenance. Definitely not. And you must be materialistic. Those are definitely all assumptions that are related to being high maintenance, but they are most definitely, they're not related to being high maintenance. Yes, I'm sure that's the case somewhere, but absolutely not. I disagree with all of those. Let's wrap up this episode and some takeaways. So, if someone says you're too much, maybe they're just not to be meant to be in your life, right? Maybe they're not going to respect your boundaries. Maybe these people are going to talk about you behind your back. But if somebody says you're too much and all you're doing is being yourself, then I personally don't think those people have a place in your life. Because if you're just being yourself and they're telling you you're too much, like, for me, that's like, whether it's friendship or relationship or like acquaintance or coworker, that's like a red flag and I would steer clear. As someone who does have standards, like, I can't be a low effort person. I'm either 100% or I'm nothing. So if I'm interested in something, I'm going to put my all in it. If I'm not really interested, it's going to be like 0%. And again, that can be taken different ways. I'm aware. When it comes to like relationships and things, again, I feel like it's tricky because I don't like to make the first move. So it's not really for me related to low effort. It's related to nerves. Once I'm kind of into something, it's 100 or 0. So I need to make the decision of if I'm going to do this or if I'm not going to do this, because I don't like doing things halfway. if you haven't already, think about routines that make you feel good, or think about activities that make you feel good, people that make you feel good, and try to incorporate those into your life. See if it makes a difference on how you feel. Set some boundaries, see how it goes. Boundaries are a tricky subject because it takes people time to get used to them. But think about being more intentional and see where that takes you. I'm curious. Add it in the comments if people have called you high maintenance and if they've said it in a negative tone, what you thought about it. I'm always curious. I generally I've been called difficult to my face. I can't really say people have used the word high maintenance to my face. I know that people have said it about me behind my back because other people have told me that. But if someone calls you that, think of it as a compliment because having standards and having boundaries is, in my opinion, always a really good thing. Thank you so much for tuning in. Follow along here and on Instagram. I cannot wait to talk to you next week.